All right, welcome to TDN Live Week 8 matchups. I'm your host, Mayo Verde. With me tonight is Rush the Crush Monday. What is up, dude?
What's up, man? Great. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, buddy. Go Phils. Just want to say that. Series tied. One apiece.
Phils.
Going back to Philly. Looking good. Let's get into the matchups here. Game number 1, Mean Green versus brother-in-law True Player, which shows two of the top quarterbacks in the league going up head-to-head, and Manning versus Breeze. Manning's going up against the Niners defense. I think Patrick Willis is also going to be a factor in this game, chasing the Colts offense around. Ronnie Brown, I think, for the player might do something, but I think Miles Austin, once again, is the difference in this game. He's had 2 solid weeks. I look for him to have a 3rd solid week against Seattle, so I'm picking Mean Green in this one. What do you think, Crush?
Looking at it, I see that True Player's going to start Steve Smith there, and he's had nothing but problems this year, and he's going out to Arizona, and those problems are going to continue. On the other hand, on his defense, I think Julius Peppers has a chance to have a good game against the Cardinals, and I expect to see him rebound after coming back from an injury and start becoming the tackler machine that he was. So I still have to give the edge to Mean Green, but I see a close game.
All right. Game number 2, The Crush versus the Bears. I like your wide receiver tandem in this, in Colston and Rice. I think Colston's going to have a big game Monday night. Saints continue to roll. I like Justin Tuck on your defense going against that weak Eagles offensive line. Selleck, I think, might have a big game. McNabb's going to be questionable. Depends on how many times he gets sacked. On the Bears side, T.O. still in his starting lineup. Don't know why. Jimmy, you got to get on that. I do like Matt Forte, though, in the matchup. And the Bears have scored over 200 points in their last 2 weeks, so I see them continuing that success. I like Owen Daniels as well in this matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the upset and think the Bears are going to beat the Crush. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you off the bat there. The Crush has been struggling a little bit here of late, but I think he's going to get things turned around this week. Number 1, I think Marshawn Lynch is back healthy, and I think he's going to have a breakout game against Houston. I also agree with you on the wide receivers on my team, and I see a solid performance on the defensive side of the ball, especially with the linebackers. On the other side of the ball with the Bears, Mark Sanchez had nothing but problems last time he played Miami, and I don't expect anything to change with that. He does have a good defense. Elvis Dumerville, Keith Bullock, well-rounded team. But like I said, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Crush this week.
All right. Game number 3 shows the Saw Dogs, who unfortunately was our weakest link last week, only put up 78 points. This week, I don't know if it's going to be much better. Maurice Jones-Drew against the Titans defense. He has a subpar defense. He's kind of fallen off. I'm not really sure how I feel about that defense. On the other side of the ball, Keg Killers, you got Adrian Peterson against the Pack. He was successful in the first matchup against them. Yet again, another Giants defensive lineman going up against that weak Eagles offensive line in Osi Umenyiora. And I think Roddy White needs to be a factor in that New Orleans game in order for Atlanta to be effective. So I think the Keg Killers are going to come up on the upper hand of this game.
Well, I'm kind of split on this game. I'm not sure. It looks like that both teams are going to have some bye problems here. I also see that Eli Manning had a history of problems with the Philadelphia D. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say Saw Dogs is going to win by 30 points.
Game number 4, and what I believe is to be the game of the week and the one to watch in the mighty NAFLA, shows Big Joe Panther going up against the number 1 team in NAFLA, the Red Riders. In this game, it has Brett Favre going up against his old team, the Pack. He was successful in their first matchup. Tom Brady's on a bye. Will Brett Favre be able to carry the Red Riders? Ray Rice versus Denver is an interesting matchup, too. Denver's defense has only given up 79 yards against the rush per game this year. Romo versus Seattle on Panthers side. I think Romo and Miles Austin have got a little bit of a rapport going to where they will continue to put up numbers. Big Joe's got that solid defense, which I enjoy. And Andre Johnson versus Buffalo. Lord knows Buffalo is having trouble stopping everyone. It's going to be a close game, but I think Big Joe continues to win his 3rd straight game, or 4th straight game, and continues to roll. Big Joe.
All right, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. And for the only reason that Big Joe went out and made a move this week, picked up Frank Gore. He's going to stick him in there as running back, and I think Gore's, 1 week removed from return from injury. I think he's geared up, ready to go against a weak Indianapolis rush defense. If you look on the other side of the ball, like you said, Ray Rice is going to have a big-time problems going up against that Denver D. Derek Mason, another guy that's going to have problems with Denver's defense. And another close game, but I'm going to give the edge to Big Joe.
All right. Next game, Heavy Metal versus Greensboro Gold Member. I actually think Gold Member is going to roll in this one. He's been over 200 points in his last 3 weeks. He's got a strong team. I like the Schaub and Slayton-Houston combination there, going up against Buffalo, who obviously cannot stop anyone, so I look for them to actually have huge games. Matt Schaub is actually the top-scoring fantasy player in the league, so I could see him continuing to roll. I also like Larry Fitzgerald up against Carolina. Carolina's defense is struggling this year. On Heavy Metal side of the ball, he's got a lot of starters on bye that are really, contributors to his team. Jimmy Wilkerson's off, Kellen Winslow's off, D'Angelo Hall's off. Those guys put up decent numbers for him to keep him rolling. They're all on bye week, so I look for Gold Member to roll in this game.
Yeah, when I look at this game, I see a must-win situation for both teams. Either team that loses this game is all but out of the playoffs, and that's just how it is. When you look at Greensboro Gold Member's record and look at the points that he scored, you just can't believe that that's going on. I feel bad for him there. He's got a good lineup, and he's just had some bad luck this year. I see him rolling this week. I agree with you. Matt Schaub, another big week against Buffalo. On defense, I see Gabriel Wilson maybe picking off Mark Sanchez a couple times, plus a ton of tackles. Greensboro rolls.
All right, quickly to Destroyers and BTK. BTK's been putting up solid numbers. He's got Aaron Rodgers going up against Minnesota. Of course, he's going to want to outsling Brett Favre, so I like that. Reggie Wayne versus San Francisco. He's got a very strong defense. He's put up 200 points over the past 2 weeks. Looking at the Destroyers, Vernon Davis, I think Alex Smith, maybe he'll do something. Vincent Jackson possibly could put something up. Look for Jacobs maybe to be effective against the Eagles, but I see BTK coming away with the victory in this one.
Again, I got to agree with you here. Kemper BTK has a strong team. He's got a good quarterback. Petey Wells should have a good game this week against Carolina. Reggie Wayne, not sure how healthy he's going to be, but still probably solid production, and BTK rolls.
All right, next game, G-Men versus Saba. I like the Cutler versus Cleveland. Yet again, a team who can't seem to stop anyone. He's got the solid defense. You got Jared Allen going up against Green Bay again. Last game we saw Jared Allen against Green Bay. He put up like 20 sacks. Although Chad Clifton's back in the lineup, I think Jared Allen could still be effective. Chris Johnson, I think, will have a decent game. Looking at G-Man, he's weak at wide receiver. The only thing I really see is Rivers versus Oakland's a decent matchup, but a subpar defense. I think Saba rolls in this one.
Looking at this matchup straight up with the quarterbacks, you got to give the edge to Jay Cutler there. He's due, and I would have to give him the edge there. Chris Johnson struggled this year, but I think he might bounce back against Jacksonville. Tennessee's got to win a game sometime. I see Jared Allen coming up huge this week for San Saba, and I agree. San Saba rolls.
All right, last game, real quick. Cowboys versus the Kid. Dylan's got a ton of injuries on that bench. I don't really know he's going to be able to plug in there. Cowboys been playing strong. I like his defense. And Schobel, Witherspoon is kind of revitalized on that Eagles defense. Brandon Marshall maybe have a game. LT going against Oakland should put up decent numbers. So I think the Cowboys come out of his losing streak and win this one.
Looking on the other side of the ball, I'm going to have to disagree with this one. I got Heartbreak Kid coming out, another guy who I think has a solid team, and David Garrard has looked good and better in the last couple of weeks going up against the Tennessee team who can't stop anybody. Jeremy Maclin, if he's healthy this week, I think has a good game. Double teaming Deshaun Jackson up there in New York. His defense looks solid, and Kurt Warner might get a few sacks this week. So I'm gonna go against you on this one. I'm gonna pick the Heartbreak Kid.
All right, there you have it. Week 8 matchups.